I think it would be difficult for any father to describe their son in just a few lines. Joe, he really was a larger-than-life kid. He more than inspired everyone he met, and that didn't matter who you were.
I would describe Joe as the most unique guy I've ever known in my life, as far as how charismatic he was, how genuine he was in everything that he did.
Joe lived his life like a football game. Every time he brought a soul to Christ, he scored a touchdown. Like that was his mission in life.
He took the best of authentic Roman Catholic spirituality and the best of society, and he really harmonized it into a whole.
He showed that you could do everything that a normal person does, everything. But at the same time, your faith is totally driving your entire life.
I mean, how do you go out, go to the bars with your friends, and then go back and knock on their door the next morning to make sure they all go to Mass? These are the things that he did.
He would invite people to Mass. He'd invite the football team in high school, and if that's not evangelization, then what is?
You know, outside of faith and family, football was everything to him.
He was held in such high regard by his peers, which is the most staggering thing, because in this day and age of where people are promoting themselves, Joe was the antithesis of that.
Oh, loved the game. He loved it. Everything was about football, 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 football all the time. He was very competitive. Everything that he wanted to do to the best of his abilities.
We lived close to my mom because she was really my son's primary caregiver when I was at work. My mother found out she had stage 3 colon cancer, and I really didn't know what I was going to do because we knew we couldn't carry our mortgage without both of us working.
He loved football, without a doubt, but he definitely knew, what took precedence. So he, stopped playing football and took care of, the family first.
He said, "No problem, I got this." And just like that, he just gave it up.
He was resting at home, and no one really noticed anything abnormal. My wife was in the kitchen talking to him, turned her back, and then heard him gently collapse on the floor. Found out later that Joe had an enlarged heart. He died there in our home without any warning, just laid on the floor and closed his eyes. Thousands showed up at the funeral. People were waiting for hours to come into the church where they held his wake and to give us the opportunity to hear the stories of how Joe touched their lives in such a special way. A woman came up and said that her son ran away to Florida. We met this boy. He convinced him to go home to his mom. She thought she lost her son. And he came home telling her stories about Joe. Joe loved his faith so much, and he surprised us all when he said the priesthood was was where he wanted to go. Joe did everything he could to help the church, and that's why he decided to join the Knights of Columbus.
We fell in love with the idea of Knights helping the church, and when I found out he was #1 on the list, I said, "That's it." I said, "This is Joe. This is how we're going to continue Joe's legacy."
Today, Joe's legacy lives on through this council. He had told my wife, "I want to touch the hearts of millions." And through the Knights of Columbus, he's getting his wish. A lot of people are telling us that he reminds them of the Italian Pier, Giorgio Frassati. And really, after reading about him, I see the similarities are so strong.
Only the Pope canonizes saints, but in my mind, absolutely and categorically, Joe Reali is with Jesus Christ.
There are times I drift away from my faith, even today, but Joe's the reason I go back. I gotta go to confession, help me, Joe, and I end up going back.
God had a purpose for him that's much bigger than we could ever even imagine, and I believe it was to intercede for many, because, even people that have never met him hear his story and are going back to church, to the sacraments. It's incredible.